of Carson and Marsha See, and joining me is Roger Runge, a landscape designer who's worked with the family. And one of the things I really noticed first upon entering here is this sharp contrast between the public space out on the street and the private space back here.
It really is a neat aspect of this garden because the house itself is so formal, and the plantings in the front are symmetrical and formal too, but when you get in the back, it becomes very, very casual, very informal, and very livable in the back.
Absolutely. Very livable and comfortable. There's two features back here that are just really prominent, and we're standing under one of those.
Right. This wisteria arbor is just spectacular, isn't it? And
I'm sure it's such a nice way to get from the house as you move out into the garden.
it makes a great transition from the house out into the garden.
And then the maple. I think that's the oldest maple I've seen in Oklahoma.
Definitely the biggest,
I mean, yeah,
isn't it?
for
Yeah,
a
it's definitely
Japanese
the biggest.
maple.
Yeah, for a Japanese maple. Like you,
Yeah.
the first time I saw it, I didn't recognize it when I just saw the trunk because I'd never seen a Japanese maple that big.
Really
Marsha thinks
striking.
that may have, its roots may have tapped into an old cistern below ground or something like that. And
Keeping
that,
it happy.
Right. Same thing with the wisteria.
With the prominent space out here in the backyard is this fountain, and it has a nice history, doesn't
Oh,
it?
it's such a great centerpiece. And Carson said he found the fountain in New Orleans and bought it for Marsha. And it's just an eclectic gem of a fountain. It's really unique. And Marsha said that, sometimes in our winters they lose a few pieces, and so they just glue things back on. So it changes every year. They've got mementos from their travels.
I see
and
some rose stones,
very
a little
personal.
bit of
Right.
Oklahoma
Yeah,
on there.
yeah.
And the color around this planting a lot, it's all concentrated here,
Right,
really.
yeah, it's all, we've got this incredible green backdrop around the garden, and then all this color concentrated here on this focal point. It really makes the garden look really big too, to have all that green
That's
surrounding
true.
it.
You get this depth.
Exactly, yeah, the
perception.
depth is great because of the different textures and layers.
Let's look at that edge. It's such a strong backdrop, but there's nice layers to it as well.
Oh, right. There's lots of layers. This band of junipers isn't that great?
It
It's
is.
different. It's 3 different junipers. You would never, think of mixing them like that, but you get
No.
the same texture and the same forms, but some color interest without being too overwhelming. And then it contrasts with those big, shiny, dark green leaves of the magnolia and the hollies. And it's really hard to imagine when you're standing here that we're less than a mile from downtown Oklahoma City.
It's very comfortable and secluded. It feels very private.
Very private, yes.
There's some other interesting mixtures of plant material. Here we have this Japanese forest grass with the ferns. And just,
And the bishop's weed and just lots of textures and layers and a real great play of shades of green. And that, Marsha is the gardener, and she's been playing with this garden for 20 years. It shows it. She's experimented. She's tried things and pulled it out, and some things have worked, and that's what she's built on.
yeah. There's another little one that I have to mention because I found it so interesting. The Mahonia, which is such a rough and tough looking plant,
yeah.
sit against that Rex begonia.
Oh, I know. The contrast of the textures and the colors really works. That Mahonia has just a hint of a silver or blue to it, and then that Rex begonia really has that silver light to it.
With the other defining characteristic of this landscape are the living spaces.
Very livable. We've got, that first seating area there in front of the fireplace under that magnificent wisteria arbor.
Yeah, very comfortable.
It is so comfortable. And then this one, we've got the backdrop of this old iron gate, and the umbrella gives us the shade. It really is a really great place for them to relax. They're both very busy, travel a lot, work a lot, and so it's a great place for them to come out and relax.
Absolutely, and they're known for interior design, and you can really see how they've brought that out into the landscape.
Exactly,
and given it those nice special touches.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for visiting with me in the landscape.
Kim, it's great to see you again.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.